Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the subject of social science for the class 10th English medium, chapter 10.2. That is, this is the second part of the 10th chapter, that is India Agriculture by Vitan Sir. Let us have a small recap at what we did last time. First, what is agriculture and farming? Types and methods of farming, types of crops, grains and oilseeds. Now we will be continuing in this tutorial with the hot beverages, cash crops, reforms made in the agriculture, green revolution and impact of globalization. So we will move forward to the hot beverages. The hot beverages basically means the hot drinks which we have. We will be starting with tea. Tea is the national drink of India. We can say something like that. As you can see, these are the tea leaves, how they are plucked and what we get. The plant of tropic and temperate zone. Tea is a tropic and temperate zone plant. The tea leaves and the sprouts are processed into powder or small leaves, and then using this powder or small leaves, a drink that is tea is made. India produces maximum tea after China. That is, India is the second in the production of tea in the whole world. What tea requires is the slopy land, soil with iron content, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius temperature, and 200 centimeter rainfall in the form of showers during the whole year. That means tea doesn't need rain at a single time. It needs a showery rain which goes on throughout the year. That means the area which has rain 12 months of the year is required for tea. It is grown in Assam, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, UP, etc. places. Assam and West Bengal produce around 75% of the total tea produced in India. That means the major producer states of tea in India are Assam. Next comes the coffee. Coffee is the classy drink for the Indians. As you can see, coffee is quite popular, quite luxurious and needs a huge care. It is grown in the shades of larger tree in the slopy mountains. Basically, coffee can't have the direct sunlight. It's a very sensitive crop. So it is only grown in the shade of the larger trees. It needs 150 to 200 centimeter rainfall and the temperature must be 15 to 28 degrees Celsius. It is grown basically in Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Also, the Coorg area of Karnataka is well known for its coffee. The coffee of this area is quite famous all over India and not just that, also all over world. Coffee seeds are extracted from nuts, then they are grinded and then it is used for drinking. Cocoa, basically this is something all the children of the world is very familiar with. Cocoa and the chocolate created from the cocoa. Not just the children, everyone loves this. It is prepared from the seeds of cocoa fruit. It is very similar to coffee actually. Chocolate is also prepared from cocoa. It needs hot and humid climate with heavy rainfall. It is produced mainly in Africa. Any other countries also produce cocoa, but Africa is the major producer. In India, it is produced in Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. Next, we will be moving forward towards the cash crops of India. Cash crops basically means the crops which can be immediately sold for the money. Usually the thing is that cash crops are such crops which are sold in about 24 hours after taking the yield. That's why they are known as cash crops. We will see one by one all the cash crops. We will start with the cotton. Cotton is rue. Kapas is the other name for cotton. It is kharif crop, and in India it is second in world for the production, usage and export. Cotton is obtained from cotton plants. It is known as white gold because cotton earns a lot for the farmer. It needs black lava soil which contains humidity for long times. The soil which contains humidity in it for a long period of time is required for cotton. It also needs plenty of minerals. It needs hot and humid climate, 20 to 35 degrees Celsius temperature and 30 to 70 centimeter rainfall. Cotton takes about 6 to 8 months to grow. It can be damaged by frost. Frost means excessive cold, so that may damage the cotton yield. The major states which produce cotton are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Haryana, Rajasthan, etc. states. Among them, the Gujarat stands first in India for the production of cotton, the productivity and the area sown, also the quality. It is grown more in Gujarat in the Surendranagar, Rajkot, Vadodara, Ahmedabad, Sabarkantha, Mehsana, etc. districts. Next is sugarcane. We also call it sherdi. The maximum sugarcane is sown in India among the world, while production wise we are second after Brazil. Sugar, good, that is jaggery, the khandasari and ethanol are produced out of sugarcane. It needs black, fertile, alluvial lava soil, hot and humid climate, 21 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature, and 75 to 100 centimeter rainfall. UP has maximum area sown, but Maharashtra leads the production of sugarcane in India. South Gujarat and Saurashtra produce more sugarcane than other districts of Gujarat. Jute, also known as kathi, it is something which was used before the introduction of plastic for almost everything for which plastic is used today. The jute is called golden fiber and India is its top producer. Cloths, bags, ropes, mattresses are produced from it. These are all the things which today are produced using plastic, but it was produced earlier using this jute. It requires fertile soil of delta regions. Delta regions means the regions where rivers meet the sea. These regions are known as delta regions. It needs hot and humid climate, 30 to 40 degrees Celsius temperature and more than 100 centimeter of rainfall. India has strong competition with Bangladesh for jute production and cheap labor. It is grown more in Ganga Delta of Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, UP, etc. states. This is the map of India which contains the crop-wise distribution of jute, sugarcane and cotton. The brownish part is the jute, the pinkish part is the cotton and greenish part is the sugarcane. You can depict Gujarat for cotton, West Bengal and the coastal regions of Assam for jute, and you can depict UP for sugarcane. That way it will be easier to do the maps for this particular chapter. Tobacco, also known as tamaku. These are the tobacco fields. It is a kharif crop with needing sandy, loamy soil, 20 degrees Celsius temperature and 100 centimeter rainfall. Major four countries who grow tobacco are China, Brazil, India and US. Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, UP and Karnataka are major states producing tobacco. Charotar region of Kheda district, Anand, Mehsana, etc. districts produce tobacco in Gujarat. So these are the main districts who produce tobacco in Gujarat state. 80% BD tobacco of India is produced in Gujarat. So Gujarat is the leader in production of BD tobacco. Tobacco consumption is harmful to health and therefore Sikkim has banned tobacco. That's the first state who has banned tobacco in India. Next is rubber. It is prepared from the milk oozing out of the latex trees. As you can see in this particular picture, these trees have some cuts made in them and they ooze out the milk. This milk is collected in these bowls, and after the milk is collected, acetic acid is mixed in the milk of rubber tree and the and they are heated in the low temperature to obtain rubber. It is used in many industrial products like tires, tubes, pipes, etc. Also, it needs hot and humid climate with heavy rainfall. Malaysia ranks first in the rubber production. Kerala For India, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Assam and Tripura are the rubber producing states. Condiments and spices. In India, Gujarat ranks first in the production of fennel seeds, that is variali, cumin seed and isabgol in the whole world, not just India, the whole world. India leads in the production of dried coriander, fenugreek, mustard, suwa and ajwain. India contributes to about 35% of world's total condiment production. Black pepper, cinnamon, clove, etc. of India are in high demand at world level. Fruits, vegetables and flowers. India stands second after China in fruits production. Bananas are grown in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Apples in J&K, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh. Grapes are sometimes imported from Afghanistan because the demand of grapes is not that high and they are not produced in enough quantities in India. Flowers like rose, juhi, mogro, galgoto, etc. are also cultivated in India. Now, we are done with the hot beverages and the cash crops. We have already studied food grains and the oil seeds. Now, let us talk about the reforms which are seen in the agricultural sector. Reforms basically means the changes which are seen. So, what have we experienced in the past years since independence? We can say that what are the changes in agriculture. So they are basically distributed into two parts: technical reforms and the institutional reforms. The technical reforms means the changes in the technology. What are the changes made in the technology, the methods, the schemes, the tools, the modern techniques? What are the changes in them made for the agriculture? We will see them one by one. The farmer who used leather buckets and water wheel used submersible pumps or monoblock pump, solar pump, drip irrigation and sprinklers. That is, those who used buckets now are using pumps. The fertilizers like D-ammonophosphate, DAP, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, NPK, urea and biofertilizers, liquid biofertilizers, biotech seeds. That means we have started using fertilizers, whether it could be chemical or bio or liquid bio or biotech seeds are used in the agricultural, which was not used before. uh, Farmers are guided through radio, television, newspaper, channels, SMS on mobile. There is a toll-free number here. Government, farm web portals, iKhedut and mobile app like agri markets. So the latest technology has been used to guide the farmers constantly in their problems. The new agricultural researches are conveyed to farmers by Gram Sevak. So Gram Sevak goes from village to village and tells them the latest news regarding the latest tech. A farmer training center is established in every district headquarter, wherein the farmers are given training. So the farmers are trained in this district headquarters of farmer training centers. The recent information and guidance are provided to farmers through agricultural fairs. So agricultural fairs are held in Gujarat at various places so that the recent information, the latest information can be given to farmers. Universities have established in every state. Agricultural universities are at Dantewada, Junagadh, Anand, Navsari in Gujarat. These are the places in Gujarat where agricultural universities are there. These universities carry out research and prepare new experts in agriculture. Apart from this, Indian Council for Agricultural Research and Department of Agricultural Research and Education are active at national level. So these departments have the responsibility to make new research in agriculture and tell them, distribute them to the farmers of India. Remember these names and short forms. The next are the institutional reforms. Institutions basically means the NGOs or the departments or the government companies or the firms or the social associations who help the farmers in their development. So what are the changes in these kind of associations or the organizations? That's what we are going to study here. The first one, that government has discarded landlordism. Landlordism was the system where a person was the landlord of thousands of acres of land and then he hired farm laborers to work in those lands. So that was the landlordism which has been abolished because it exploited the actual farmers. Land to the tiller means the person who tills khed, khed बोलते हैं हम उसको खेड़ना. The person who tills the land becomes the owner of that land is the current rule. The land tillers have been given the right to become the owner of the land. The difference between the land owners has been removed by Land Ceiling Act. Here the Land Ceiling Act basically means the ceiling towards the holding of a land. हिंदी में समझाओ तो उसका मतलब ये होता है कि कोई भी इंसान के एक मैक्सिमम लिमिट होती है, उससे ज्यादा लैंड वो ऑन नहीं कर सकता है, उससे ज्यादा लैंड उसके नाम पे वो नहीं रख सकता है. हाँ, वो अपने फैमिली वालों के नाम पे ले सकता है, बट मैक्सिमम लैंड इज दैट. So no person can own thousands of acres of land. There is a limit now. Farmers are given help financially by crop subsidy through Kisan credit cards and by nationalized and cooperative banks. They are also given full insurance protection of their crops through Prime Minister crop insurance schemes. Remember the names of these things because these are important with the viewpoint of examination. When the crops fail due to the drought or through excessive rain, farmers are given financial help by the government. By providing legal support, open auction process is made where the farmers can get the highest prices for their products. Facilities like societies, associations, warehouses, cold storages, transportation, communication, etc. are provided so that farmers can store their product for a longer period of time. They can get enough information, they can get enough rates for their goods so that they can get higher income and their level of living increases. Following organizations are operating for the purchase of farm products from the farmers at support prices. Support prices are basically minimum prices which government declare. So if farmer thinks that he is not getting enough price in the market, he can sell it to government at the support prices. These are the institutions which purchase from the farmers at support prices. National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, in short NAFED, Gujarat Cooperative Oilseeds Growers Federation, that is GROFAD, National Dairy Development Board, that is NDDB. Next, we are going to talk about Green Revolution. Rather than explaining you in detail, I have just put here a clip. Watch it and you will automatically understand what is the Green Revolution. Green Revolution happened in India in 1960s to increase the crop production. Who did it, how it was, everything will be explained in the later clip. Role of agriculture in Indian economy. That means agriculture is there in India, but what is it doing? How is it performing? What is its importance? We have to understand it in detail. So I have explained it pointwise. First, it is the main occupation of India. That is the most important thing. It is the main occupation of India. Next, it provides employment to half the population of nation. Also, it holds 17% of the gross domestic product. The gross domestic product, the total income of the country, of which 17% is earned from the agriculture. Huge foreign exchanges are earned from exports of paddy, wheat, oilseeds, and cash crops. So by selling these things to foreigners, we get huge foreign exchanges. India had an overall ranking of 2 in agrarian production in all over world. India ranks second in the overall agrarian production. Many industries like sugar, cotton, textile depend on the agricultural production. Agriculture provide the basic necessity, that is food, to the Indians. That is very important part of agriculture in India. In 1951, India's population was 36.1 crore, which is 135 crore today, meaning demand for food grains have increased. In 1950, India produced 51 crore tons of food grains, which increased to a record of 265.04 crore tons in the year 2013 and 14. That means the food grains which we produce have increased with the population which is there. Today we have sufficient amount of food grains, but to avoid any scarcity, we must keep enough buffer stock. Buffer stock means a stock of food grains kept in the case of emergency. We can prevent wastage of food grains by efficient management of it. GOAT has implemented Food Securities Act to stop the wastage of food grains and to distribute food grains at less or free of cost to poor and needy families. Next, let us discuss about the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture. Globalization we have already studied or we will be studying in the future chapters. Globalization means connecting the economy of India with the world economy, and what has its effect on our agriculture. Let's see. Due to globalization, the process of imports and exports has been made easy. So foreign products are available in India as well as Indian products are exported in foreign countries. So what happens that the products are available in India and we can send Indian products to foreign countries for selling. So that has become easier. The international competition has increased, so the patenting of the quality products has emerged. Means if we have some good quality products, we need to patent them so that no one can copy them. The production of cotton and maize has increased as the international demand for cotton and maize is very high. So what we have done, we have increased its production so that we can meet the international demands. To face the competition, we have to develop new techniques and technologies so that we don't fall behind in the competition and we can sustain ourselves. To maintain the current food supply along with increasing population in future, there may seem like a need for second green revolution. So maintaining the current food supply along with increasing population in future, we may need the second green revolution to improve ourselves.